How to evaluate your hunt test run, what to fix and what to ignore. This video builds on the last video. The last video we talked about mistakes mid-test. This video, we're going to talk about what happens after the hunt test is over. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Hurd. I'm inside because it's too bloody cold outside to be training, so we're moving in to get you the next update here on the channel. And this is something most amateurs, well, I shouldn't say most, this is what every one of us do after we're done with the hunt test. But most amateurs don't fail because of what happened at the hunt test. We fail because of what we do after it. Let that sink in. Think about that for a minute. When you walk off the line at the end of the hunt test and you immediately start thinking, those wheels in your head are start spinning. Maybe you passed, maybe you didn't, you don't know until they start handing out ribbons. But you need to ask the right question, like, what do I need to fix? Most amateurs, though, answer that question slightly wrong, especially if you're brand new to the sport. So here's the truth. Not everything that looks imperfect needs fixing. If you try and fix everything, you're just going to confuse the heck out of the dog. Evaluation requires discipline. And this is why I preach to you all, record your training sessions and especially have someone video record on a phone your entire hunt test. That's a great data point to have. So step one, we need to separate our emotions from fact. Before we analyze anything, you really need to let the dust settle. You got to let that adrenaline kind of calm down. Conversely, you don't want to wait too long to evaluate things because you're going to forget some stuff. So you need to ask yourself what actually happened. What did the judges likely see? Try and evaluate with clarity. Don't add emotions into it. At the end of the hunt test, you can visit with one or both of the judges, and you can ask to see your evaluation sheet. Let them tell you what they saw in you and your dog. It's like getting your oil changed, and a couple days later, you get this annoying survey. How did we do? How did we do? You need a survey on you and your dog's performance, and the best survey is ask the judges themselves. You can also ask your friends, your professionals that may have watched you run, and sometimes those are very difficult conversations to have to get that feedback, but try and have an open mind. Let me break into my own video here real quick. I just want to let you know that I've got a Patreon page, and if you like this kind of video content, please visit the link, and there's a little $5 tip jar if you don't mind giving me a little tip. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. That's very, very important to the algorithm, for the YouTube algorithm, and leave comments down below. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're going through. I want to know what your dogs are struggling with, so I can build some content off some of the issues that you have. And hopefully when the weather breaks and gets a little bit warmer, we'll get back out in the field and do a little bit of training. All right, let's get back to the video. So step two is identify control breakdowns first. Control issues always matter. And that's why I preach to you, don't run numerous back-to-back weekends because control is going to break down. But you need to be looking for things like control breaks or braking, creeping and line manners, whistle refusals and cast refusals. Now, if those control points break down, that becomes a real problem, and that needs to be worked on. And one of the ways you can work on that is not to run as many back-to-back weekends. However, if control was solid, that is a strong foundation. So go back to the training pyramid where you got basics, intermediate, and advanced. If that bottom part of the pyramid, that's your basics, that's where most of your control comes from, and all those little tiny baby steps you have in there that built that great foundation, you should feel really good. But if anything in there breaks down during a hunt test, those are the things you need to come back to and work on. But step three, we need to differentiate between the slight imperfections and the real problems. Not all imperfections at the hunt test are problems. So let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about. A slight hunt on a mark, not necessarily a problem. A minor handle on a tough blind, not necessarily a problem. But you need to ask yourself several questions, and we've talked about this in previous videos. Did the dog stay confident? Did we stay composed? Did the team remain functional? Because a clean recovery often matters much more than small little imperfections. So moving on to step 4. Look for patterns, not one-offs. One bad mark doesn't mean your marking is breaking down in the dog. But 3 tests with the same issue, yeah, that becomes a problem. And that's why it's important to write all this stuff down after every hunt test so you can identify these problems. Because patterns deserve adjustments, but one-offs usually do not. And that's why step 5 is critical. Evaluate the handler. Again, you have to be open to hearing good and bad things about how you did. Okay, that's how you improve. So this is where amateurs can really grow fast. By asking yourself, did I rush? Did I overhandle? Did I stay calm? Did I trust my dog? Again, repeating the same things I've had in previous videos, but you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be open to criticism. The dog can't fix what the handler won't admit. All right, it's flowchart time. You need to make 3 decisions. So step 6, you need to focus on 3 criteria: train, maintain, or ignore. After evaluation, choose a category to work on. The first one is what to train on. So if you had clear breakdowns at the hunt test, that needs to be worked on pronto. If you had a solid performance, just keep things steady. Just maintain progress. Just things are looking good. Don't muck it up now. And 3 is minor non-pattern imperfection. Those are the things you need to ignore because this will prevent overtraining and over-confusing the dog. I've seen amateurs undo months of good training because they overreacted to one imperfect run. Discipline in evaluation protects confidence. Don't overskip that. Listen, discipline in evaluation protects confidence in the dog. That's how long-term progress happens with you and your dog. If you're an amateur handler who wants steady improvements, not emotional swings, you need to subscribe. This channel exists to help you think clearly. And this is the content that you won't find most people talking about online. You need to train like an amateur and think like a pro. Hope to see you in the next video.